welcome to Dramas in Pajamas. Today we're diving into Twinkling Watermelon Part 1 of 4. So get comfy and let's binge. Hi everyone, welcome to our new Korean drama series, Twinkling Watermelon. I know, what a random name, right? It's about a young man who accidentally travels back in time through a mysterious instrument and becomes friends with his young father. And of course, he also falls in love with a mysterious girl. The young man is named Eun-gyeol, who is smart and sensible from a young age. Because his parents and brother are deaf mute, Eun-gyeol started helping in his father's construction site restaurant at a very young age. The kind-hearted workers all like this clever boy and occasionally sneaks him pocket money, which Eun-gyeol returns with a good drink to treat the workers. As the only able-bodied person in the family, Eun-gyeol became a bridge between his parents and the outside world. One day, the restaurant's supplier uncle came as usual to deliver vegetables, and Eun-gyeol's mother is very angry when she saw the box full of rotten vegetables. Eun-gyeol scolded the uncle, accusing him of taking advantage of their disability, and demanded fresh vegetables the next day, threatening to withhold payment until then. The uncle left reluctantly. That night was Christmas Eve, and it was snowing heavily. Eun-gyeol was awakened by the sound of falling snow, and his mother curiously asked about the sound. Amused, the family went out to build a snowman. They were happily playing in the snow, unaware of the impending danger. Eun-gyeol noticed that the screws on the scaffolding upstairs were loose, and the scaffolding was about to fall on his brother who was building a snowman. Eun-gyeol rushed over to save him, but accidentally fell. He desperately shouted to warn his family, but they couldn't hear him. Eun-gyeol uses a laser pointer to get his father's attention, who then ran to save his brother just in time. The family, still in shock, sat together, and Eun-gyeol asked his father the age-old question. If he and his brother were both in danger, who would his father save? The father gave a heartfelt answer that left a deep impression on Eun-gyeol. Whenever Eun-gyeol faces important moments in life, he remembers his father's answer from that night. Eun-gyeol's parents moved them to a bigger house through their hard work, but Eun-gyeol quickly falls victim to the landlord's son's bullying. He initially befriends Eun-gyeol with ulterior motives. Despite his threats and attempts to get Eun-gyeol to cheat for him in school, Eun-gyeol stands his ground and excels in school, earning the top spot in his exams. The landlord's son retaliates by pouring hot water on Eun-gyeol. Eun-gyeol befriends a kind grandpa in a music store who takes pity on him and offers to teach him guitar. Music becomes a source of solace and strength for Eun-gyeol, allowing him to navigate life's difficulties and his father's heavy expectations. One day, the old grandpa gives him an old Walkman and asks him to listen to the song on it and finish composing the rest of it. If he does a good job, he will gift him a new guitar. While Eun-gyeol goes to show the grandpa his work, a fire breaks out in Eun-gyeol's home, caused by a cigarette butt thrown by the landlord's son. Eun-gyeol's father heroically enters the house to save him, not aware that he was outside, reinforcing the father's earlier response that he will always save Eun-gyeol first, due to his unique ability to bridge the unhearing to the hearing world, and he is like an angel in their family. Now the family is forced to find a new home, and Eun-gyeol rushes to bid farewell to the grandfather at the music store, who then actually passed away around the same time. Outside his store, Eun-gyeol sees a woman and a girl dressed in black and holding flowers. Years pass. Eun-gyeol and his brother grow up to be attractive young men. Eun-gyeol's brother becomes a promising taekwondo athlete, and Eun-gyeol continues to excel in school, driven by his love for music. Despite his father's hopes that he will become a doctor, Eun-gyeol remains secretly passionate about playing the guitar. Music becomes Eun-gyeol's way of expressing himself and connecting to the world around him. Eun-gyeol, in full disguise, performs on the street, attracting the attention of Band C with his excellent memory and playing skills. The member invites him to join the band as a guitarist, but Eun-gyeol, not wanting to reveal his true identity, declines. Before leaving, they still give him a disc and the band's address. Eun-gyeol places the disc in his locker, a tiny shrine dedicated to his musical dreams that no one else can see. This time, he decides to be brave and try something new, So he rushes to the band with the disc and sets 2 conditions before joining. He must keep his mask on during performances, and family and school must come before his music. The band soon has a performance with Eun-gyeol, whose presence makes their collaboration seamless. The passionate music instantly ignites the audience, especially Eun-gyeol's guitar solo, which thrills everyone. Moreover, Eun-gyeol's outstanding performance catches the eyes of NJ Entertainment Company, who wants to invite the band to join the company and perform as guest bands overseas. The renowned producer, President Woo, plans to personally attend their next performance. The members, knowing that gaining President Woo's favor could lead to releasing an actual album and achieving their musical dreams, are ecstatic and they hug each other in excitement. To celebrate this historic day, the members drink together. In the middle of the celebration, Eun-gyeol receives a call from his father, who has been in a car accident and needs Eun-gyeol to come to the police station. Eun-gyeol rushes to the station, finding that his father luckily only fell while avoiding the car and wasn't injured. However, to his surprise, the driver who crashed into his father's shop warehouse turns out to be their long-lost landlord. With all surrounding security cameras broken, it's temporarily impossible to confirm that the hit-and-run driver was the landlord. She claims that she was the driver, but Eun-gyeol's father is certain that it wasn't her. Eun-gyeol translates for his father, telling the police that his father saw that the driver was a young man, which turns out to be the landlord's son. The landlord, trying to protect her son, throws a tantrum, accusing Eun-gyeol's father of taking revenge for being evicted years ago. Due to insufficient evidence, the case is temporarily unresolved, pending further investigation. Leaving the police station, Eun-gyeol inquires about the landlord's son, but the landlord believes that they're mocking her. Eun-gyeol's father, disappointed, looks at the landlord while Eun-gyeol translates his words, pointing out that the landlord has never changed, choosing to cover for her son despite knowing the truth. The landlord, embarrassed, stubbornly insists that her son did nothing wrong. Eun-gyeol doesn't understand his father's actions, questioning why he didn't choose to settle since there were no injuries and the landlord compensated for damages. His father responds that he doesn't want to endure in silence as he did 6 years ago. The father's regret over not telling everyone that it wasn't his child who started the fire makes Eun-gyeol feel guilty. Determined to protect his family, he decides to leave the band. The band members, unaware of his unique family situation and thinking that the fame got to his head already, gave him a beating. Forced to explain, Eun-gyeol reveals his struggles, gaining their understanding and support. They don't want him to give up music, and they offer him a chance to return always. Eun-gyeol, heavy-hearted, returns to the study hall, finding his mother waiting. Concerned about his mood, she pulls out his report card, showing his recent decline in grades. She often brought him food to the study hall, but noticed that he wasn't at his desk. She hopes he will voluntarily explain what's going on, but decides not to pressure him. She says she'll keep the situation from her husband as she wants her husband to be happy, and Eun-gyeol is her husband's source of happiness. Unable to answer, Eun-gyeol feels trapped by the conflicting demands of his dreams and his family. He bikes to the grandpa's shop, now a new building, and memories flood back. While reminiscing, a woman with an empty wine bottle asks if he's loitering because he likes her daughter. Eun-gyeol says that the shop was once a music store owned by a grandpa who was his friend. He is surprised when the woman calls him by name. She invites him inside, revealing that she is the grandpa's daughter who had lived abroad, returning only after his death. She gives Eun-gyeol a guitar left to him by the grandpa, finally finding its rightful owner after 6 years. The woman's words conveying her father's final message that he can communicate with the instrument, that his music brings light to those who experiences it, deeply move Eun-gyeol, shaking his resolve to give up his dream. The grandpa's spirit seems to appear, suggesting Eun-gyeol toss a coin to decide his future, as artists can often be spontaneous. Eun-gyeol rejoined the band with the guitar, smiles during practice. At dinner, his father reveals that he found the car accident's dashboard camera, hoping Eun-gyeol will join him. Eun-gyeol, planning to attend band practice, tries to think of a reason to excuse himself. His brother steps in, saying that Eun-gyeol needs to accompany him to Taekwondo training. Eun-gyeol realizes his brother might know his secret, which is confirmed when he shows a video of the band's performance, recognizing Eun-gyeol despite the mask. Eun-gyeol invites his brother and his girlfriend to the concert, but his brother, unable to hear, politely refuses. Before the concert, the lead singer catches a cold, and Eun-gyeol buying medicine is seen by the landlord. Misunderstanding the situation, the landlord follows Eun-gyeol, suspecting him of falling in with the wrong crowd. Receiving a call from the police about new evidence, the landlord rushes to the station, where the dashcam confirms that her son is the culprit. The landlord, humiliated, lashes out at Eun-gyeol's father. On the other hand, the band, with the lead singer's voice still weak, asks Eun-gyeol to sing. For the first time, he removes his mask and performs passionately. Among the audience are both the famous President Woo and Eun-gyeol's deaf father, who watches in shock as his world seemingly collapses. After the concert, Eun-gyeol knows that he had disappointed his father, but he gathers up the courage to confess his love for music. His father, believing it's a temporary escape from academic pressure, thinks Eun-gyeol will return to his studies. This time, Eun-gyeol stands firm, refusing to be just his father's showpiece or interpreter. His father can't accept the fact that his son never voiced his true opinions, to which he yelled if there's a point anyways, since his father can't hear anyways. Angrily, he walks away, realizing his harsh words about his father's protective nature were extreme. He considers smashing the grandpa's guitar, but stops, seeing his shadow splitting and the grandpa's shop appearing before him. Inside the shop, everything is familiar. A man claiming to be the owner appears, offering to buy the guitar. Eun-gyeol gives a receipt for his sale and warned to keep it safe, steps outside to a changed world, discovering that it's 1995. A boy with a name tag, Lee Chan, approaches, and Eun-gyeol realizes that this boy is his father, who can speak and hear, and has invited Eun-gyeol to join his band. So Eun-gyeol, time-traveling extraordinaire, finds himself in the past and shockingly befriends his teenager, not-so-deaf father, who is also a wannabe rock star. In 1995, his father, Lee-chan, is an 18-year-old with big dreams and an even bigger crush on the school's music queen, Choi. To win her heart, Lee-chan publicly invites her to the school anniversary event, promising his band will perform just for her. Choi, flattered but skeptical, agrees but adds a twist. If Lee-chan fails, he must vanish from her life forever. Lee-chan, ever the optimist, accepts. Little does Choi know, Lee-chan is a musical novice. Determined to impress, he recruits his pals as his band's manager and members, despite their collective lack of musical talent. Desperate for a guitarist, they look for a legendary player, Yoon. Posting an online ad, Lee-chan offers free room and board. To his surprise, Yoon responds, needing a place to stay in Seoul during his travel. On meeting day, Lee-chan, in his school uniform as per Yoon's request, goes to meet with Yoon, who will be holding the school newspaper. But a sudden bellyache sends Yoon running to the restroom, where he bumps into time-traveling Eun-gyeol. Picking up Yoon's dropped newspaper, Eun-gyeol realizes that he's in 1995 and has come face-to-face with his young dad. Lee-chan mistakes him for Yoon because of the newspaper, and Eun-gyeol, holding back his shock and trying to stay close to his youthful dad, confirms his identity using Yoon's future famous interview details. Lee-chan, though skeptical, welcomes Eun-gyeol to the First Love memory-making band. To bond, Lee-chan suggests that they call each other brothers, though he struggles to address his father by name. Lee-chan introduces the new Yoon to his bandmates, who immediately suspects that he's a fraud, having seen the real Yoon perform. They trash the trio and storm off. Grabbing Eun-gyeol's collar, Lee-chan demands answers. Through their heated exchange, Eun-gyeol learns that his father's band's ambition are purely for a girl named Choi. He blurts out that Lee-chan should be with his mother, Chona, leaving his father flabbergasted. Meanwhile, Chona, oblivious to the chaos, loans Choi clothes. They appear to be friends. Curious about Chona's love of music despite her hearing impairment, Choi learns that she's listening to the beats. When asked about Lee-chan's public confession, Choi bluntly denies any affection. Called to the teacher's office over an accusation of art plagiarism, Chona defends herself fiercely, damaging her own and her accuser's work, sparking a messy brawl. Back with Eun-gyeol still grappling with his dad's banned for romance stunt, he searches for a music store that brought him to 1995, asking every local, but in vain. Remembering the receipt from the guitar sale, he dials the number on it, only to find it disconnected. Hungry and frustrated, Eun-gyeol tries to buy food with modern money, but to no avail. Scrounging his coins, he barely buys a snack and spends the night in a cold subway passage, missing the comforts of home and realizing how little he knows about his father's past. Suddenly, a ringing phone in a booth startles him. Answering it, the store owner's voice urges him to figure things out on his own. A big help, that is. Waking up clutching his shoes, Eun-gyeol accepts that he must solve this himself. He returns to Yi-chan, who's distraught over Yoon's accusations that they're trying to scam him and defection to another band. Determined to join his father's band, Eun-gyeol's persistence wears down Yi-chan's resistance. Chasing Yi-chan to another school, Eun-gyeol is left waiting outside, lacking a uniform to enter. Inside, Yi-chan is dodging a own rival, hiding in a storage room, where he startles Chona. Outside, Eun-gyeol spots Choi, recognizing her as the store owner's daughter who invited him in. Now all the main characters are being introduced. He's not only becoming best buds with his young dad, Yi-chan is also playing Cupid for his parents. Who knew family bonding could be this complicated? Eun-gyeol's time travel saga continues as he meets the younger version of the grandpa's daughter, the same woman who gave him the grandpa's guitar in the present day. Choi catches Eun-gyeol calling her auntie and takes him for another one of Yi-chan's disgusting cronies. Meanwhile, Yi-chan, hiding from his school rival in a storage room, introduces himself to Chona, who doesn't appear impressed and remains silent. Chona has been locked up by her bully and her forehead is injured. Yi-chan, with his makeshift first aid skill, tries to help. But Chona, triggered by a traumatic memory, bites him when he got close. The commotion attracts the gym teacher, who demands that they open the storage room door. They narrowly escape, leaving Yi-chan's friend's jacket behind. Hand in hand, Chona and Yi-chan dashes across campus. And for Chona, who lives in a silent world, this moment is a burst of youthful freedom. Yi-chan tries to learn her name on her tag, but Chona resists any close contact. He leaves her his number, promising help if she ever needs it. Outside, Eun-gyeol engages Choi in a conversation about the grandfather, aka her dad, who he claims was his guitar mentor. Choi's reaction, though, is icy. She says that her father is a physicist, not a shop owner, definitely not a musician. Turns out Choi was talking about her adopted father. Her real father, which is the music store grandpa, is a sore spot for her. Misunderstandings are flying everywhere, and Choi's painful past is resurfacing. It turns out Choi's childhood love was singing and dancing, but her adoptive parents wanted her to master the cello. Her real father's occasional silent appearances at her performances are a reminder of an unresolved mysterious past. Eun-gyeol's mention of her real father triggered her anger, and Yi-chan arrives just in time to witness the fallout. Yi-chan promises Choi that he will keep his band performance promise. Eun-gyeol, watching from the shadows, warns Yi-chan that Choi will eventually marry someone else and live in a big house with a beautiful daughter. Yi-chan is enraged by this premonition and runs off. Back at home, Eun-gyeol finds Yi-chan's grandmother fuming over his poor grades. To calm her down, Yi-chan introduces Eun-gyeol as his tutor. Grandma tests him, and Eun-gyeol, ever the genius, obviously passes with flying colors. Delighted, Grandma throws a celebratory barbecue. Eun-gyeol is amazed by the lively, talkative life that his father once led, wondering how he became deaf and mute. The next morning, a call from Yi-chan sends Eun-gyeol to school, where he stumbles upon a sign for First Love Memory Making Band. This is a terrible name. In the practice room, he picks out a familiar guitar and he started strumming away. Yi-chan hears the beautiful music and comes running, but he misses Eun-gyeol. Determined, Yi-chan and his buddies vow to find the mysterious handsome stranger playing his guitar. In a dramatic twist, a concert ticket mix-up leads Yi-chan to think that Choi invited him to her cello performance. It was actually Chona who gifted Yi-chan the tickets that she got from Choi. When he rushes to the venue, he found that the concert was already over. Choi is angry and feeling annoyed by his stalking, lashes out, accusing Yi-chan of using a pretend love for music to win her over. To save face, Eun-gyeol declares himself the band's guitarist and drags Yi-chan on stage. Under the spotlight, their performance dazzles everyone. The crowd goes wild, and post-concert, Lee-chan formally invites Eun-gyeol to join the band. He remains puzzled by his father's obsession with forming a band. He explains that after school, he'll start working, so he wants to live it right now to his heart's content. Just then, Lee-chan chases a boy who's chasing a balloon from an incoming car, and Eun-gyeol realizes that his father's back injury story might be unfolding before his eyes. Rushing to check, he finds no scars, meaning that the life-changing accident hasn't happened yet. And that's it for part 1. Thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more drama-filled recaps. Thank you.